The rain fell hard on the broken city. Mirai walked through the streets with heavy boots that made loud sounds on the wet ground. She was tall, very tall. Her skin was covered with dark blue scales that shined even in the gray light. Her eyes were gold and bright like two small suns. She was a commander of the Draconian Empire, and everyone feared her. Behind her walked 10 soldiers. They were also Draconians, also covered in scales, also strong and dangerous. They carried big weapons and watched everything with careful eyes. The humans who lived in this city now hid in their homes. They peeked through windows and saw the dragon people walking past. They were afraid. Mirai looked at the buildings. Many were broken. Some had holes in the walls. The war had been short. The Draconians had won easily. Humans were weak. Everyone knew this. They lived only for a few years, maybe 70 or 80 if they were lucky. Draconians lived for thousands of years. Humans had small bodies and soft skin. Draconians were strong and had scales like armor. There was no real fight. The humans had lost before they even started. Now Mirai had to check the refugee camps. These were places where humans stayed after losing their homes. The Empire wanted to know how many humans were here and what to do with them. Mirai did not care much about this job. Humans were not interesting to her. They were just another species that the Empire had defeated. She had seen many species fall before the Draconian power. Humans were nothing special. The camp was at the edge of the city. It was a large open space with many small tents. Hundreds of humans lived here now. They had little food and few things to keep them warm. The rain made everything worse. Mirai walked into the camp and people moved away from her quickly. Children grabbed their parents. Old people looked down at the ground. No one wanted to make the dragon lady angry. Mirai's second officer, Taehyun, walked beside her. He was younger than Mirai, only about 800 years old. He had red scales and sharp teeth that showed when he talked. "Commander, the count shows 473 humans in this camp," he said. "Most are families. Some are old. Some are sick." "Good," Mirai said. Her voice was deep and strong. "Send the report to the fleet. We will move them to the work facilities next week." She turned to leave. Then she heard a small voice, "Excuse me." Mirai stopped. She looked down. There, standing right in front of her, was a human child. A little girl. She was very small, maybe only reaching up to Mirai's knee. She had black hair that was wet from the rain. Her clothes were dirty and torn, but her eyes were bright and clear. She looked right up at Mirai without any fear. The Draconian soldiers around them became very still. Taehyun moved his hand to his weapon. No one approached a Draconian commander without permission. This was a rule everyone knew. Breaking this rule could mean death, but the little girl just stood there looking up at Mirai with those bright eyes. "Child, move away," Taehyun said in a hard voice. "Now." The girl did not move. She kept looking at Mirai, then she spoke again. "Can you be my mother for a few days?" The words hung in the air like something solid. Mirai felt like time had stopped. Around her, the soldiers made sounds of surprise. Taehyun laughed, but it was not a kind laugh. Other Draconians started laughing too. The idea was crazy, impossible, funny. But Mirai did not laugh. She just stared at the small human child. No one had ever asked her something like this before. In 3,000 years of life, in hundreds of battles, in countless meetings with kings and emperors, no one had ever said these words to her. "What?" Mirai finally said. Her voice came out quieter than she wanted. The little girl did not look scared at all. She spoke in a clear, simple way. "My mother is very sick. She is in the medical tent over there." The girl pointed to a large tent at the side of the camp. "The doctors say she might die. I do not want to be alone. I saw you and I thought maybe you could be my mother for just a little while, until my real mother gets better." The soldiers laughed harder now. One of them, a big Draconian with green scales, said, "Commander, the human child has lost her mind. Should we remove her?" But Mirai raised her hand and everyone became quiet. She looked down at the girl. Really looked at her. The child was so small, so fragile. One hit from Mirai's hand could break her easily. The rain fell on the girl's head, making her hair stick to her face. She was shaking a little, maybe from cold, maybe from fear. But still she stood there. Still she waited for an answer. "What is your name?" Mirai asked. "Hana," the girl said. "My name is Hana." "Hana," Mirai repeated. The name felt strange in her mouth. "Why do you ask me this?" "I am not human. I am your enemy." My people destroyed your city. We took everything from you. Hana nodded slowly. I know, but you have kind eyes. I can see it. Under all those scales and that scary face, you have kind eyes. My mother taught me that you can always see kindness in someone's eyes if you look carefully. Mirai felt something strange in her chest. It was an odd feeling, like something was pulling inside her. She had not felt anything like this in many, many years. Maybe in centuries. She was a warrior. She was a commander. She had killed many beings in battle. She had destroyed cities and defeated armies. Kindness was not something she thought about. Kindness was not useful in war. But this small human child saw kindness in her eyes. Your mother is sick? Mirai asked. Yes, Hana said. Her voice became softer now. She has been sick for 3 days.
She cannot get up.
She cannot eat. The doctors give her medicine, but they do not know if it will work. I'm scared. You should be with her then, Mirai said. Not here talking to me. She sleeps all the time now, Hana said. When she is awake, she tells me to be brave. She tells me to be strong. But it is hard to be brave when you are alone. I thought if I had someone to be with me, just for a few days, it would be easier. And you look like someone who is very strong. Strong people can help make other people strong too. Mirai did not know what to say. This was not a situation they taught in military training. This was not something she had learned in her 3,000 years of life. A small human child was asking her, a draconian commander, to pretend to be her mother. It was insane. It was impossible. It went against everything that made sense. But Mirai heard herself say, I will stay with you for a few days. The soldiers stopped laughing. They looked at their commander with shock. Taehyun stepped forward. Commander, you cannot be serious. This is against protocol. The Empire does not— I make my own decisions, Mirai said, cutting him off. Her voice was firm now, back to the strong commander voice. This child has made a request. I will grant it. Consider it a study of human behavior. It will be useful for understanding the species better. That was a lie, and Mirai knew it. But it was a lie that made sense to her soldiers, so they accepted it. Taehyun bowed his head. As you command. Mirai looked back down at Hana. The little girl was smiling now. It was a small smile, but it was real and warm. Thank you, Hana said. Thank you so much. Show me where your mother is, Mirai said. Then we will talk about what you need. Hana reached up and took Mirai's hand. The draconian commander looked down at the tiny human hand holding her scaled finger. It was so small, so warm, so trusting. What had she just agreed to? As they walked toward the medical tent, Mirai wondered if she had made a terrible mistake. But for some reason, she did not let go of the little girl's hand. The medical tent smelled strange to Mirai. It smelled like medicine and sickness and something else she could not name. Maybe it was fear, or sadness, or both. Hana led her inside, still holding her finger. The tent was crowded with beds. On each bed lay a sick human. Some were coughing. Some were sleeping. Some just stared at the ceiling with tired eyes. Hana stopped at a bed near the back. On it lay a woman. She was thin and pale. Her black hair spread across the pillow like dark water. Her eyes were closed. She breathed slowly, each breath seeming to take great effort. This was Hana's mother. Mama, Hana said softly. Mama, I brought someone. The woman's eyes opened slowly. They were the same bright eyes as Hana's. When she saw Mirai standing there, huge and scaled and clearly not human, her eyes went wide with fear. She tried to sit up, tried to put herself between her daughter and the dragon lady. No, no, Mama, it is okay, Hana said quickly. She patted her mother's hand. This is Mirai. She is going to be my mother for a few days. Just until you get better. The woman looked confused. She looked at Mirai, then at Hana, then back at Mirai. What? Mirai felt awkward. She was not used to feeling awkward. She was a commander. She gave orders and people followed them. She did not stand in medical tents explaining strange agreements to sick human women, but here she was. Your daughter asked me to watch over her, Mirai said. Her voice came out harder than she meant it to. While you recover. I agreed. The woman stared at her for a long moment. Then slowly, tears began to fall from her eyes. You will take care of my Hana? Yes, Mirai said. You will keep her safe? You will make sure she eats? You will make sure she sleeps? Yes, Mirai said again. The woman reached out with a shaking hand and took Mirai's scaled hand in both of hers. Her hands were so small and weak. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you. I am Jiwoo. My name is Jiwoo. Please take care of my baby. Mirai felt that strange pulling in her chest again. She nodded. Rest, get better. I will watch her. Jiwoo smiled through her tears. Then she looked at Hana. Be good, my sweet girl. Listen to Mirai, do what she says. I will, Mama, Hana said. She kissed her mother's cheek. You get strong, okay? I will come visit every day. As they left the tent, Mirai wondered what she had gotten herself into. She was a warrior, not a caretaker. She had never taken care of anyone in her life. She had soldiers under her command, yes, but they took care of themselves. They did not need someone to make sure they ate or slept. They were adults. Trained fighters. Hana was a 6-year-old human child. Are you hungry? Mirai asked as they walked back into the rain. A little, Hana said. When did you last eat? This morning. I had some bread. Just bread? That is all we have, Hana said simply. Mirai frowned. She turned to Taehyun, who had been following them at a distance. Get food. Human food. Enough for a child for several days. Commander, our supplies. I did not ask about supplies, Mirai said coldly. I gave an order. Follow it. Taehyun bowed and left quickly. Mirai looked down at Hana. The girl was still holding her finger. Where do you sleep? In a tent with 5 other families, Hana said. It is crowded, but it is warm when everyone is there. That will not do, Mirai said. She thought for a moment. Then she made a decision. You will stay in my quarters. On my ship, Hana's eyes went very wide. Your ship? In space? Yes, it is the command ship in orbit. It has heat and clean water and real beds. You will be comfortable there. But what about the other families? What about my friends here? Mirai felt surprised by this question. The child was being offered warmth and safety and comfort, but she was thinking about others. This was very human, Mirai thought, always thinking about the group. Always worried about others. You can visit them every day, Mirai said, when we come to see your mother. But at night you will sleep somewhere safe and warm. Do you agree? Hana thought about this. Then she nodded. Okay, thank you. They took a transport ship up to the command vessel. Hana pressed her face against the window and watched as the ground fell away below them. She had never been in space before. She had never seen her planet from above. Her eyes were full of wonder. It is so beautiful, she whispered. I can see the clouds. I can see the ocean. Everything looks so small. Mirai watched the child's face instead of the view. She had seen thousands of planets from space. It was normal to her. Boring even, but seeing Hana's wonder made her look at it differently. Maybe it was beautiful. Maybe she had just forgotten to notice. The command ship was huge. It was 10 times bigger than any human ship. It had dark metal walls and long corridors that echoed when you walked. Soldiers moved through the halls doing their duties. When they saw their commander with a small human child, they stared but said nothing. No one questioned Mirai. Her quarters were large and cold. There was a bed, but it was made for a draconian, so it was very big. There was a desk with maps and reports. There was a window that showed the stars. There was not much else. Mirai had never needed much else. She looked at Hana and realized this room was not good for a child. It was too cold, too empty, too hard. Wait here, Mirai said. She left and came back a few minutes later with blankets and pillows. She made a nest of soft things on the floor near the heating vent. You can sleep here. It will be warm. Hana climbed into the nest of blankets and smiled. This is nice. Thank you. Taehyun arrived with food. Mirai did not know what human children ate, so she had him bring many different things. Bread and fruit and cooked vegetables and soup and some kind of sweet cake. Hana's eyes went very wide when she saw it all. This is all for me, she asked. Eat what you want, Mirai said. Hana ate slowly. She tasted everything carefully. She ate until she was full, and then she wrapped up the rest carefully. Can I save this? For tomorrow? There will be more food tomorrow, Mirai said. But what if there is not? Hana said, it is better to save some. Just in case, Mirai understood then. This child had been hungry before, many times. She had learned to save food because she could not trust that there would be more. This made Mirai feel angry. Not at the child. At the war. At the empire. At the situation that made small children worry about their next meal. You can save it if you want, Mirai said quietly. But I promise you, there will always be food while you are with me. Hana looked at her for a long moment. Then she smiled and ate a little more. That night, As Hana slept in her nest of blankets, Mirai sat at her desk and tried to work. But she kept looking over at the small human child. Hana made little sounds in her sleep. She curled up very small, like she was trying to take up as little space as possible. She hugged one of the pillows like it was a precious thing. Mirai had never watched someone sleep before. It seemed like a strange thing to do, but she could not stop looking. Humans slept so deeply. They were so vulnerable when they slept. Anyone could hurt them. Anyone could kill them. And yet they just closed their eyes and trusted that they would wake up again. Draconians did not sleep like this. They rested, yes, but they were always partly aware of their surroundings, always ready to fight if needed. This deep, trusting sleep was something only humans did. It seemed foolish to Mirai, but it also seemed brave in a way she did not understand. Around midnight, Hana woke up crying. Mirai heard the sound and stood up quickly, reaching for her weapon out of habit. But there was no enemy, just a small child having a bad dream. "Hana?" Mirai said. She knelt down beside the nest of blankets. "What is wrong?" "I had a dream," Hana said through her tears. "I dreamed that Mama died. I dreamed that I was all alone." Mirai did not know what to do. She had never comforted anyone before. She had never needed to. But Hana was crying, and something in Mirai wanted to make it stop. Slowly, carefully, Mirai reached out and picked up the child. Hana was so light, like holding air. Mirai sat back in her chair and held Hana in her lap. The child pressed her face against Mirai's scaled chest and cried. "Your mother will not die," Mirai said. She did not know if this was true, but she said it anyway. "She is strong. She will get better." "How do you know?" Hana asked. "Because she has you," Mirai said. "She has a reason to fight. People who have reasons to fight are hard to kill." Hana was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Do you have reasons to fight?" Mirai thought about this. What were her reasons? Duty, honor, the empire? These were the things she had always told herself. But now, holding this small human child, they seemed like empty words. "I am starting to find some," Mirai said quietly. Hana looked up at her. The tears had stopped. "What reasons?" Mirai looked down at those bright, trusting eyes. "You," she said. "Right now, you are my reason." Hana smiled and hugged Mirai tighter. Soon she fell asleep again, right there in Mirai's lap. The commander sat very still, afraid to move and wake the child. She sat there for hours, holding Hana, feeling the small human's heartbeat against her scales. And for the first time in 3,000 years, Mirai felt like maybe she was doing something that mattered. The next morning, Mirai woke up in her chair with Hana still sleeping in her lap. Her body was stiff from sitting in one position all night. Her scales ached, but she had not moved because she did not want to disturb the child. This was strange behavior for her. Mirai had spent nights standing guard in war zones without complaint. She had gone days without rest during long battles, but now she sacrificed her comfort for a small human's sleep. When Hana finally woke up, she looked around in confusion. Then she remembered where she was and smiled up at Mirai. "Good morning, Mama," she said. The word hit Mirai like a physical blow. Mama. The child had called her Mama. "Not Mirai, not Commander, Mama. I am not your real mother," Mirai said, but her voice was not harsh. It was gentle. "I am just taking care of you for a while." "I know," Hana said. "But can I call you Mama anyway? Just for these few days? It makes me feel better." Mirai did not know what to say, so she just nodded. "If it makes you feel better." They went down to the planet together to visit Jiwoo in the medical tent. The woman looked a little better today. She had more color in her face. She could sit up for a few minutes. When she saw Hana, she smiled wide and opened her arms. Hana ran to her and hugged her carefully, trying not to hurt her. "My sweet girl," Jiwoo said. "Did you sleep well?" "Yes, Mama. Mirai gave me so many blankets. And food, so much food. And her ship is huge and amazing, and I saw the stars last night through the window." Jiwoo looked at Mirai over Hana's head. "Thank you," she mouthed silently. Mirai nodded. She stood at the side of the tent, feeling out of place. This was a moment between mother and daughter. She did not belong here, but Hana kept looking back at her, making sure she was still there, and so Mirai stayed. After the visit, Hana wanted to see her friends in the camp. Mirai followed her as the child ran from tent to tent, greeting other children. They were playing some kind of game with rocks and sticks. It looked simple and boring to Mirai, But the children laughed and shouted like it was the most fun thing in the world. Do you want to play? Hana asked Mirai. I do not know how, Mirai said. I will teach you, Hana said. It is easy. You just have to throw the rock and try to hit the stick. If you hit it, you get a point. Mirai looked at the tiny rock and the thin stick. She could hit targets from 1,000 meters away with her weapons, but something about this simple game made her nervous. She was afraid she would throw too hard and hurt someone, or throw too soft and the children would laugh at her. But Hana was looking up at her with those bright eyes, waiting. Mirai picked up the rock. It felt strange in her scaled hand, so small and light. She threw it carefully. It sailed over the stick and hit the tent behind it, making a loud sound. The children went silent. Then Hana started laughing, and soon all the children were laughing too. But it was not mean laughter. It was happy laughter. They were not laughing at her. They were laughing with her. Try again, Hana said, still giggling. But softer this time. Mirai tried again, and again, and again. On her 5th try, she finally hit the stick. The children cheered like she had won a great battle. Hana jumped up and down, clapping her hands. You did it, Mama. You did it! Mirai felt something warm spread through her chest. It was pride. Not the pride of winning a battle or earning a medal. It was a different kind of pride. Smaller, simpler, but somehow more real. Later that day, back on the ship, Hana showed Mirai her drawings. The child carried a small book filled with pictures she had made with colored pencils. There were drawings of flowers and houses and people. There was a drawing of Jiwoo smiling and healthy. There was a drawing of the sky before the war when it was still blue and clear. This is my family before, Hana said, pointing to a picture. That is Mama, that is Papa, that is me. That is our house. Where is your father now? Mirai asked. Hana's face became sad. He died in the war. On the first day, he was trying to protect our street when the ships came. Mama said he was very brave. Mirai felt that pulling in her chest again. This time it was stronger. More painful. I am sorry, she said. The words felt small and useless. It is okay, Hana said, but her voice was quiet. Mama says Papa is with the stars now. She says he watches over us. I do not know if that is true, but I like to think about it. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Hana turned to a blank page in her book. She picked up her pencils and started drawing. Mirai watched as the picture took shape. It was a tall figure with scales and gold eyes. It was her. Next to the tall figure was a small figure with black hair. It was Hana. They were holding hands. When Hana finished, she showed it to Mirai proudly. This is us, she said. This is my new picture. Can I keep it? It is your book, Mirai said. You can keep whatever you want. No, I mean, can I keep this memory? Even after Mama gets better and you have to go away? Can I remember these days with you? Mirai looked at the drawing. Two figures so different holding hands. Yes, she said softly. You can remember. Over the next few days, Mirai learned many things about humans. She learned that they needed to eat at least 3 times a day. Not once like draconians. She learned that human children needed to play and laugh or they became sad. She learned that they had bad dreams sometimes and needed comfort. She learned that they asked questions about everything, wanting to understand the world. Hana asked questions constantly. Why is space black? Why do you have scales? Why do draconians live so long? Why do humans live such short lives? Why is the sky blue on clear days? Why did the war happen? That last question was the hardest. Mirai did not have a good answer. The truth was that the war happened because the Empire wanted resources and power. Because the Draconians saw humans as weak and therefore easy to conquer. Because might made right in the galaxy. But she could not say this to a 6-year-old child who had lost her father and her home. Sometimes, Mirai said carefully, people fight because they do not understand each other. They see differences and become afraid. And fear makes people do bad things. Are you afraid of us? Hana asked. Of humans? Mirai thought about this. Was she afraid? She had never considered it before. But maybe she was. Maybe all the Draconians were. Maybe that was why they attacked first. Not because humans were weak, but because humans were different. Because humans could do things with their short lives that Draconians could not do with thousands of years. I was afraid, Mirai said slowly. But I am not anymore. Why not? Because I know you now. It is hard to be afraid of someone when you know them. Hana smiled at this. Good, I am glad you are not afraid. Because I am not afraid of you either. On the fourth day, Jiwoo was well enough to stand and walk a little. The doctor said she would recover fully. She just needed more rest and good food. When Mirai and Hana visited that day, Jiwoo held Mirai's hand and cried tears of happiness. "Thank you," she said. "Thank you for taking care of my daughter. Thank you for being kind when you did not have to be. Thank you for showing us that not all draconians are our enemies." Mirai felt uncomfortable with the praise. She had only done what Hana asked. She had not done anything special. But seeing Jiwoo's grateful tears, seeing Hana's happy smile, she realized that maybe small things could be special. Maybe kindness did not have to be a grand gesture. Maybe it could just be a few days of care and attention. That night, Taehyun came to Mirai's quarters. His face was serious. "Commander, I need to speak with you." "Speak," Mirai said. She was sitting on the floor with Hana, watching the child draw more pictures. "The High Command has sent new orders," Taehyun said. "They want us to relocate the refugees, all of them, to different work facilities across 3 systems. They want families separated for efficient resource distribution." Mirai felt her blood go cold. "Separated?" "Yes, Commander. Children to training facilities, adults to labor camps, the elderly to care centers. Standard protocol for conquered populations." Hana looked up from her drawing. She did not understand all the words, but she understood the tone. "Something bad was happening. When?" Mirai asked. "They want it done within the week," Taehyun said. "They are sending transport ships. We are to organize the loading procedures." After Taehyun left, Hana asked, "What does that mean? Relocate?" Mirai looked at the child. She thought about lying. She thought about saying everything would be fine. But Hana deserved the truth. "It means they want to move all the people from the camp," Mirai said, "to different places. To work for the Empire. All of us? Together? No separate, children in one place. Adults in another." Hana's face went very pale. "You mean I would not be with Mama?" Mirai nodded slowly. "But Mama is still sick. She needs me. I need her. We cannot be apart." Hana's voice was rising, becoming panicked. "You can stop this, right? You are a commander. You can tell them no." Mirai wanted to say yes. She wanted to promise that she would keep Hana and Jiwoo together. But she knew the Empire. She knew the rules. She knew what happened to commanders who disobeyed orders. "I will try," Mirai said. It was all she could promise. That night, Hana could not sleep. She lay in her nest of blankets, staring at the ceiling, tears running down her face. Mirai sat beside her, feeling helpless. She was a warrior who had faced armies without fear, but she did not know how to fight this. She did not know how to stop a child from crying over something that might happen. "I do not want to leave, Mama," Hana whispered. "Please. Please do not let them take me away from her." Mirai took Hana's small hand in her. Mirai stood in the communication room of her ship, staring at the holographic image of High Commander Daeho. He was ancient even by draconian standards. His scales were pale gray, almost white. His eyes were cold and dead like frozen stones. He had lived for over 5,000 years and had seen the Empire conquer hundreds of worlds. To him, humans were just another species to be used and discarded. "Commander Mirai," Daeho said, his voice like grinding rocks. "I have received your request to delay the relocation." The answer is no. Mirai had spent all night preparing her arguments. She had thought carefully about what to say, how to convince them. "High Commander, the humans are still recovering from the occupation. Many are sick. Moving them now could cause unnecessary deaths. From a resource perspective, dead workers are useless workers. Their health is not our concern," Daeho said. "The Empire has already spent too many resources keeping them alive. It is time they earned their place. The transport ships arrive in 3 days. You will have the humans organized and ready for loading. But High Commander, separating families will cause resistance. United workers are more productive than desperate ones. If we keep them together—" "Enough!" Daeho cut her off. His eyes narrowed. "Commander Mirai, I have read disturbing reports about your behavior. You have been spending time with a human child. You have been seen playing their games. Some soldiers report that the child calls you mother. Explain this." Mirai felt her hearts beat faster. She had known this would come up eventually. "I have been studying human behavior, High Commander. Understanding the species better allows us to control them more effectively." "Study?" Daeho's voice was full of doubt. "For 4 days? By pretending to be a parent to one child? Do you take me for a fool, Commander?" No, High Commander. Then tell me the truth. Have you grown attached to these humans? Mirai wanted to lie. Lying would be easier. Lying would be safer. But something in her refused. Maybe it was the memory of Hana's bright eyes looking up at her with trust. Maybe it was the sound of Jiwoo thanking her with tears. Maybe it was something deeper that she could not name. Yes, Mirai said quietly. I have. The silence that followed was terrible. Daeho stared at her through the hologram, his face hard and unreadable. Finally he spoke. This is worse than I thought. You have been compromised, Commander. The human weakness has infected you. You are no longer fit to lead this operation. High Commander, I am not finished, Daeho said coldly. You have two choices, Commander Mirai. The first choice is to follow your orders exactly as given. Organize the humans for separation and transport. Prove your loyalty to the Empire. Do this and we will forget this incident. You will keep your position and your honor. And the second choice? Mirai asked, though she already knew the answer. The second choice is to refuse your orders. If you do this, you will be declared a traitor to the Empire. Your ship will be taken. Your rank will be removed. You will be hunted and killed. There is no third option. No middle path. You either serve the Empire or you die. Daeho's image leaned forward. I will give you 1 day to decide. Report your decision tomorrow at this time. Choose wisely, Commander. A few days with one human child is not worth throwing away 3,000 years of honor and service. The hologram disappeared. Mirai stood alone in the dark communication room. Her hands were shaking. She had faced death many times in battle. She had stood before enemies who wanted to kill her. But she had never been more afraid than she was right now, because before the choice was simple. Fight or die, win or lose. But now the choice was impossible. Follow orders and destroy the small family she had come to care about, or disobey orders and become an enemy of the only life she had ever known. She went back to her quarters. Hana was sleeping, curled up in her nest of blankets. The child looked so peaceful, so small, so innocent. Mirai sat down in her chair and watched her sleep, just as she had done every night this week. What was she going to do? In the morning, Hana woke up and immediately knew something was wrong. Mama, she said, are you okay? You look sad. Mirai tried to smile, but it did not work. I am fine. You are lying, Hana said. She got up and climbed into Mirai's lap, something she did now without asking. I can tell when people lie. Your eyes look different. What is wrong? I have to make a choice, Mirai said slowly. A very hard choice. What kind of choice? How could she explain this to a 6-year-old? How could she make a child understand what she was facing? I have to choose between doing what my leaders tell me to do or doing what I think is right, Mirai said. And those two things are not the same. That is easy, Hana said. You should do what is right. But if I do what I think is right, I will lose everything. My job, my ship, my people will hunt me. They will try to kill me. Hana was quiet for a moment, thinking about this. Then she said, my papa once told me something. Before he died. He said that being brave is not about not being scared. Being brave is about doing the right thing even when you are very, very scared. Your father was a wise man, Mirai said. Are you scared? Hana asked. Yes, Mirai admitted. I am very scared. Of dying? No, I have faced death before. I am scared of something else. I am scared of losing who I am. If I leave the Empire, I will not be Commander Mirai anymore. I will not be a draconian warrior. I will just be nothing. Hana put her small hands on Mirai's scaled cheeks and made the big dragon lady look at her. You will not be nothing. You will be Mama, my Mama, for a few more days. Is that not something? Mirai felt tears in her eyes. She had not cried in over 1,000 years. Draconians did not cry. But here she was, tears running down her scaled face while a human child wiped them away with tiny hands. Yes, Mirai whispered. That is something. That is everything. That afternoon, Mirai went down to the planet, but she did not go to the camp. She went to a different place, a hidden place in the ruins of the old city. There, she met with a group of humans. These were not refugees. These were fighters. The human resistance. They had been waiting for her. Taehyun had told her where to find them. Her second officer had known what she was planning. He had not tried to stop her. Instead, he had given her the information she needed and said, I hope you know what you are doing, Commander. The resistance fighters were suspicious when they saw her. A draconian commander coming to them alone. It had to be a trap. But their leader, a woman named Somin, agreed to listen. Mirai told them everything. About the transport ships coming. About the plan to separate families. About the Empire's intentions for the human workers. About the choice she had been given. "Why are you telling us this?" Somin asked. "What do you want?" "I want to help you," Mirai said. "I want to help you get your people away from here. All of them. Before the transport ships arrive." "And what do you want in return?" "Nothing," Mirai said. "I just want to keep a promise I made to a little girl." Somin studied her for a long moment. Then she said, "If you betray us, if this is a trick, we will die. All of us, you understand that?" "I understand." "Then why should we trust you?" Mirai thought about this. Why should they trust her? She was their enemy. She had been part of the force that destroyed their city. She had no right to ask for their trust. "Because I have learned something this week," Mirai said. "I have learned that humans are not weak like we thought. You are strong in ways we do not understand. You love deeply. You connect completely. You sacrifice everything for the people you care about. And that strength has changed me. I do not want to be part of destroying it anymore." Somin looked at the other resistance fighters. They whispered among themselves. Finally, Somin turned back to Mirai. "Okay, we will trust you, but if you betray us, I will kill you myself. I promise you that." "I believe you," Mirai said. "Now we need to move fast. The transport ships arrive in 3 days. We need to evacuate everyone before then." They worked through the night, making a plan. Mirai would use her access codes to disable the detection systems around the planet. The resistance would bring in evacuation ships from their hidden bases and other systems. They would take the refugees in small groups, careful not to attract attention. By the time the Empire realized what was happening, everyone would be gone. It was a good plan. But it was also very dangerous. If anything went wrong, if they were discovered too early, everyone would die. Mirai would die. The refugees would die. The resistance fighters would die. But it was the right thing to do. When Mirai returned to her ship, it was almost morning. Hana was awake, waiting for her. The child ran to her and hugged her legs. "Where were you?" "I was worried. I was making a plan," Mirai said. "A plan to keep you and your mother together." "Really?" Hana's face lit up with hope. "You can do that?" "Yes, but it means I will have to leave. After this week, I cannot be your mama anymore. I will be running and hiding. It will not be safe for you to be near me." Hana's face fell. "You are leaving forever?" "Not forever. Maybe someday when things are different, we can see each other again. But for now, yes. I have to go." Hana started to cry. "But I do not want you to go. I want you to stay. I want you to be my mama for more than just a few days." Mirai knelt down and pulled the child into a hug. "I know, I want that too. But sometimes..." The next 2 days were the most stressful of Mirai's long life. During the day, she acted normal. She gave orders to her crew. She checked reports. She made it look like she was preparing for the refugee transport as commanded. But at night, she worked with the resistance, secretly moving people away from the camp in small groups. Hana helped in her own way. The child went around the camp telling the other families that everything would be okay. She told them to trust Mirai. Many adults were confused. Why should they trust a draconian commander? But the children believed Hana. And when children believe something, their parents often follow. On the second night, Jiwoo was well enough to be moved. Mirai came to the medical tent personally to help her. The woman could walk now, though slowly. She looked at Mirai with tears in her eyes. "You are risking everything for us. Why?" "Because your daughter asked me to be her mother," Mirai said simply. "And a mother protects her children." They got Jiwoo and Hana onto an evacuation ship along with 30 other families. The ship was small and old, but it was fast. It would take them to a free colony world 3 systems away, a place where the Empire had no control, a place where they could be safe. As Hana was about to board, she ran back to Mirai one last time. She threw her arms around the dragon lady's leg and would not let go. "Please come with us," she begged. "Please do not stay here. They will hurt you." "I have to stay a little longer," Mirai said gently. "I have to make sure everyone gets away safely. But I promise you I will leave before the Empire catches me." "Promise?" "Promise." Hana reached into her pocket and pulled out a piece of paper. It was the drawing she had made of the 2 of them holding hands. She gave it to Mirai. "Keep this, so you remember me." Mirai took the drawing carefully. She folded it and put it inside her armor, close to her heart. I could never forget you, little one. You changed my life. And you changed mine, Hana said. Then she smiled, that bright smile that Mirai had come to love. Thank you for being my mama, even if it was just for a few days. Jiwoo called to Hana from the ship entrance. It was time to go. Hana hugged Mirai one last time, then ran to her mother. They boarded the ship together, hand in hand. Mirai watched as the ship lifted into the sky and disappeared among the stars. She felt empty, like a part of her had gone with them. But there was no time for sadness. There was still work to do. By the third day, almost all the refugees had been evacuated. Only a few dozen remained, and they would leave on the final ship that night. Everything was going according to plan. Maybe, Mirai thought, maybe they would actually succeed. Then Taehyun came to her quarters with a grim face. Commander, we have a problem. What kind of problem? High Commander Daeho is coming here. His ship will arrive in 4 hours. He says he wants to inspect the refugee preparations personally. Mirai felt ice in her veins. Daeho never left his command center. Never. If he was coming here, it meant he suspected something. It meant the plan was falling apart. We need to evacuate the last refugees now, Mirai said. Right now. We cannot wait for tonight. The last evacuation ship cannot get here for another 6 hours, Taehyun said. And even if it comes early, Daeho will see it. His sensors are too advanced. We cannot hide it from him. Mirai thought fast. There had to be a way. There had to be something she could do. Then I will distract him, she said. I will keep him busy while the evacuation happens. I will give them time. Commander, if you do that, you will not be able to escape. He will realize what you have done. He will kill you. I know. Taehyun stared at her. Is this really worth it? Dying for these humans? For one small child? Mirai thought about Hana, about her bright eyes and her brave heart, about how she had asked a dragon lady to be her mother and somehow made it real, about how a few days with one human child had taught her more about life than 3,000 years of existing. Yes, Mirai said. It is worth it. Taehyun was quiet for a long moment. Then he said something that surprised her. Then I will help you. What? I will help you distract him. You are not the only one who has changed this week, Commander. I have watched you with that child. I have seen how you became more alive in these few days than in all the years I have known you. If humans can do that, if they can bring dead hearts back to life, then they are worth saving. Mirai felt gratitude wash over her. She was not alone. Even now, at the end, she had an ally. When High Commander Daeho arrived, Mirai was waiting for him at the landing platform. She stood straight and tall, wearing her full commander uniform. She looked like the perfect draconian warrior. She showed no fear, even though her hearts were racing. Daeho emerged from his ship with a squad of elite guards. He looked at Mirai with those cold, dead eyes. Commander Mirai, show me the refugees. I want to see them with my own eyes. Of course, High Commander. Follow me. She led him toward the camp, walking slowly. Every minute she delayed was another minute for the last evacuation ship to arrive. She showed him the empty tents. She explained that most refugees were in the medical areas recovering from illness. She made up reports and statistics, filling the air with words and numbers. Anything to buy time. Daeho was not fooled. Where are they, Commander? Where are the humans? I do not understand, High Commander. Do not play games with me, Daeho said coldly. My sensors show that the refugee population has been decreasing steadily for 3 days. Ships have been coming and going without authorization. You have been helping them escape, Haven, not you? Mirai said nothing. There was nothing to say. She had been caught. Daeho stepped closer to her. You foolish, weak creature. You threw away everything. For what? For a species that will die in a few decades anyway? For bonds that are meaningless? They are not meaningless, Mirai said quietly. They are the only things that have ever had meaning. Then you will die for your meaning, Daeho said. He gestured to his guards. Arrest her. Take her to my ship. We will execute her publicly as a warning to others who might betray the Empire. The guards moved forward. Mirai did not resist. She had known this would happen. She was ready, but then Taehyun stepped forward. No. Everyone turned to look at him. He stood between Mirai and the guards, his hand on his weapon. You will not take her. You dare? Daeho was shocked. You dare defend a traitor? She is no traitor, Taehyun said. She is the only one of us who has not betrayed what we should be. We were supposed to be strong, noble, honorable, but we became cruel. We became destroyers. Commander Mirai remembered what honor truly means. Protecting the weak. Keeping promises. Choosing love over power. She is more draconian than any of us. Other soldiers started to move forward. Not all of them, but some. They stood beside Taehyun and Mirai. They would not let their commander be taken. Daeho looked around at his own people turning against him. His face twisted with rage. You are all traitors. You will all die. Maybe, Mirai said. But we will die knowing we did the right thing. Can you say the same, High Commander? In your 5,000 years, have you ever done something just because it was right? Not because it gave you power or territory or resources. Just because it was right? Daeho did not answer. He could not answer. In the sky above, the last evacuation ship appeared. It landed quickly at the edge of the camp. The final refugees ran toward it, helped by the soldiers who had sided with Mirai. Within minutes, they were all aboard. The ship lifted off, racing toward the stars. Stop them, Daeho shouted to his guards. Shoot them down. But none of his guards moved. They had seen enough. They had heard enough. They let the ship escape. Daeho turned back to Mirai, his face full of hate. You think you have won? You have won nothing. We will find them. We will find all of them. We will No, you will not, came a new voice. Everyone turned. More ships were arriving. Dozens of them. Ships from other species, ships from free colonies, ships from the human resistance. They surrounded Daeho's vessel and Mirai's command ship. They had been waiting, hidden, for this moment. Salmon's voice came over the communication system. High Commander Daeho, you are surrounded. Leave this system now or we will open fire. You would not dare, Daeho said. You do not have the strength to fight the Empire. Maybe not, Somin said. But we have something better than strength. We have something worth fighting for, and that makes us dangerous. For the first time, Mirai saw doubt in Daeho's eyes. He looked at his guards, at the surrounding ships, at Mirai and the soldiers standing with her. He was calculating. Could he win this fight? Maybe, but it would cost him. And for what? For a group of refugees who were already gone? For the satisfaction of killing one traitor? This is not over, Daeho said finally. The Empire will remember this. All of you will pay. Let them remember, Mirai said. Let them remember that there are things more powerful than empires. Let them remember that even their own people can choose love over fear. Daeho left with his guards. His ship disappeared into the darkness of space. The moment he was gone, Mirai felt her strength leave her. She almost fell, but Taehyun caught her. What now, Commander? He asked. Now? Mirai looked up at the stars, thinking of Hana and Jiwoo somewhere out there, safe and together. Now we find a new path, a better path. In the months that followed, word spread across the galaxy. The story of the draconian commander who chose a human child over her empire. Some species called her a traitor.